Do you ever have success in some of this data that's collected that we get back something cool? Like
every single night.
Okay.
Okay. Like what? What are we to expect here? Like.
So I think with all of the questions you guys are starting to bombard with, are about to be answered.
Okay.
So let me just kind of go through the devices, and this way you'll know what to expect.
Okay.
With each location too, I'll kind of give you a little bit of what I normally expect out of that specific space, if anything's going to happen at all. And granted, it goes on the payroll. I can't make stuff happen.
Sure.
So I mean, we're out here, you know, on the hope and prayer that you're going to be learning some Charleston history and playing with new toys that you've never touched before.
Okay.
Yes.
You know, that should be the main expectation.
Sure.
But as far as the actual evidence, like what comes out of it in the morning, 40% of it is usually caught in the field, and then the other 60% is caught in the research. That's why I give it back to you. So that way you can envelop the entire experience of what it's like to go through the entire scenario.
Okay.
But as far as like what is caught, I have shadow figures, I have cold spots, I have EVPs, I have our spirit boxes that I use. I mean, I use several different types, and I even have a new one along the way, so it'll be here in a week and a half. But they all do something a little bit different, so it's just a matter of how you use it and what kind of space you're working with. So this entire session for you guys isn't just a history tour where you get to play with stuff. It should be kind of a ghost hunting 101.
Okay.
Like we're going to start off really easy and kind of work our way into a more difficult situation.
Okay.
So, also too, I'm recording the entire thing with regular audio, so that recorder stays on my bag, so that way you guys will have it for a couple of reasons. First off, so I can remember your names. It should be easy with a smaller group. But the other reasons are so that you guys can listen for the stories, because I'm taking you to spaces that other ghost tours won't go to, right? Because some of the spaces we're going to might be empty. So the other tours don't have anything to see, so they're not going to go there. However, it is a big part of our history. The other part for you guys is to listen for EVPs, electronic voice phenomenon, voices that aren't ours, basically, that aren't supposed to be there. So I don't listen to the regular audio because I already have the stories memorized. So I don't need to listen to it every single night, every morning when I'm going through the data. That's for you guys. It's mainly for your point. So when you guys do find stuff, you already have my contact info, you have my email address. So when you do find something, you can get a hold of me and say, check out this marker, and here's what I found. And then I'll check it out for you. Like I mentioned before. So, quick demo on all of these. So, you guys should be able to see me in there, red, orange, and yellow guy. So, that means I'm the warmest thing inside the picture. If you're a bridal party, I'm the hottest thing inside the picture. It's a little chilly for us down here. I know for you Canadians, it's probably not. But yeah, this is the other night I was actually out here in a t-shirt and shorts. And now I'm down here and I got a little shiver to me. So, but anyway, we're going to be literally looking for cold spots. So, the blue and black areas of the frame are what the coldest areas are in the frame at that moment. So the cool thing is you're going to get the full video back, but there's a blue dot that's bouncing around the screen. So as I move around, you should see a different blue dot. The blue dot is giving us the coldest point in the frame at that particular moment. So that way we kind of have a cheat sheet when you're watching your video.
What's the blue dot, Abby? Point at it.
It's like moving around.
It's going to move around.
Oh, there. See it. Yeah.
So it's kind of helping to guide your eye, and it gives you the temperature of that particular point. So what I'm usually looking for when I'm watching this on my much bigger computer screen, anywhere between 15 to 20 degree drops. So if I see something that's moving or taking shape abnormally, I'm going to literally go frame by frame until I find what's going on there. And if it's a major drop, obviously I'll screenshot it, send that to you, give you the marker so you can watch it happen. Like I give you a lot of data back when I find things. So that blue dot will be on your video. However, Evan, what you're looking at the bar on the right-hand side, that's kind of your cheat sheet in real time only. That will not be on your video. That's giving you the highest point and the lowest point in the frame at the moment. So that way you kind of know what the color scheme is. So this one's going to go to you. You're going to hold it horizontal with the camera to your left all night long. So if you ever get confused on which side is the left, it's the one with the wire.
This is the left.
Right. Okay. So I will give you a couple starts and stops throughout the night, only because... first off, let me kind of give you a heads up. People do not like to be filmed, and they don't like the cars to be filmed. You're going to be the only one with a camera tonight, so if I say be casual, you're just going to be casual.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't want to be the YouTuber. Like, wow, look at everything, right? Because we're going to be passing by apartments and things like that. So, where was I? Oh, starts and stops. So the hardware is great, right? It's a FLIR Pro 1. It's used by firefighters. Like, it's the real deal.
Okay.
The software sucks. It's horrible. If we record for too long, we're going to lose all footage. Okay. So I will give you the starts and stops. It is recording now. Okay. I started that so you guys kind of have that tutorial. That way when you guys start watching it, you know what you're looking at.
Okay.
So again, we're going to keep recording, and I'll let you know when to stop.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Next up.
He's already looking for cold salt.
What do you have in your pocket, man?
Water.
Is that what it is?
That's what it is.
Is that what it is?
It's black.
It's,
Oh.
Yeah, it came out of the fridge tonight instead of out of the garage, so it's going to be a little colder than normal. So, 2 spirit boxes tonight. Abby, was it? Am I getting the names right? Yeah. So, Abby, yours is gonna. Let me kind of explain what this guy is going to do first, because not everybody might be familiar with these. So, on TV, they kind of give you the white noise, and then they tell you what they think they heard in the middle of it, and then the host puts it up on the screen. Yeah. We're going to be doing that in real time. Only Abby's going to have an earbud in, so she's going to be the only one to be able to hear it in real time. This one is recording the entire session. It's sweeping through all of our FM radio stations at a very fast rate. It's at the slowest rate I can make it to make it easy for you, because I want the radio chatter to come through. If you hear song lyrics, DJs, commercials, and you can make it out, I want to know what it says. I can't put it any other way. It's the simplest way to say it. Yeah. It's not just listening for things in the white noise, because I'm going to give you a lot of history. And the white noise, you're going to probably fall asleep. So I slowed it down, so that way the DJs and song lyrics can come through. Yeah. That's just another method of what, like I usually run 2 of these on my own investigations. One super fast, so there's no radio chatter, and then there's one that's slow with radio chatter, so that way I can kind of compare the 2. And with yours, like I said, I'm going to give you an earbud. You can control the volume all you want. You're not going to mess with your recording. You're going to get the full recording back tomorrow morning. Now, I'm going to spot check it tomorrow, because again, she's going to run about 2 hours of radio sweeping. I'm going to spot check it and let you know what I hear out of it, even if it's not relevant. If it is relevant, I'll tell you why it's relevant to a person that we're talking about in history, a location of where we are, or even something going on with one of us. For some odd reason, I think your name's going to pop up tonight. I don't know why.
Oh, man. Can I just say, like, so if she hears somebody say, hey, radio station 101, yeah, she has to say that out loud?
Yeah, but here's the thing. So, radio station 101, right? So I might be looking for the number 1 out of something. Somebody may have been born in January. That's a clue to kind of go into something else. So again, it's all about trying to find those extra clues and then piecing them all together.
So you really just want her to blurt out what she hears?
Well, not so much blurt out. So when I say, like, because I'm going to be talking a lot tonight. Yeah. So I'm going to keep following up and saying, what are you getting? What are you getting? What are you getting on yours? What's going on with your device? I'm going to keep bouncing around with all of you, and you're just kind of hang on to the ones that you think that I might need to hear. So again, you might not know, because I'm going to withhold some information on purpose, so I'm not putting subliminal messages in the back of your head. Does that make sense?
No.
Yeah. So again, some people have a really hard time with this. Others do really, really well. So it just depends on the person. You're going to have to untie the earbuds, and I don't want them back because earwax is gross, even birthday earwax. So you only have one button to worry about. Don't hit any of these on the front because it's already sweeping and recording. Yeah. There's a wheel right here that's going to control the volume for you. So just get whatever comfortable range of volume you have. Normally when I'm talking and giving history, most people turn them down so they can focus on me. So it's just however you preference. If you don't want to listen to me and you want to listen to the spirit box, by all means do so. So it just happens to be that way. Some people get tired of hearing me talk super fast. I am from the north, believe it or not, so I'm not from Ohio. Yeah, I'm not from here. There's no southern twang with this guy.
No, I know.
Teenagers do really, really well.
Yeah. She's just such more a visual than an auditory person, but
if you want, I can do the auditory. I'll see how it goes.
Okay, yeah, let's try it.
Yeah.
All right. The next spirit box is going to work a little bit differently. So this one is going to give us a word from time to time in the center of the screen, just like it says the word real right now. We're going to look at my last list that I had. Oh, we got rained out, so they had a short list. They only had 32 terms. And I'll get into us getting rained out here in a moment. But anyway, it's going to give us a lot of terms, probably anywhere between 70 to 90 different terms and phrases. Do I want you to show me every single one? No, we'll be here all night because they're going to just keep popping up. 80% of what comes out of this thing doesn't mean anything. It's a phone app. What's happening here is there's 9,200 terms that are in the memory database of this app, and it's going to spit them out randomly. What we're playing is, did it come from a ghost, or did it come from the app? So there's going to be things that are so specific that it's going to be definitely relevant to our location. Okay. So again, most of it's going to be 80% garbage. We won't need it at all. But at times I'm going to say, Tammy, where are we at with that list? And you're just going to hit that little white button for me, and I'll scroll through it and kind of see where we're at with things.
Oh, okay.
So you don't have to do anything besides hold it.
Okay.
Ooh, my turn.
Your turn.
No.
I'm listening to music.
Now,
is this the one that's just for fun?
This is the one that you
That's
were
the one.
Yeah. So this guy is what I normally give to the little kids on the tour.
Aww.
Because it gives them blinky lights, gives them something to watch.
Yes. Sometimes you laugh.
So, the top numbers on this guy are going to be the same measurements on what's on there, only this goes 4 times higher. Well, I'm sorry, 8 times higher.
Do I get blinky lights?
Yeah, you will.
Yes.
So, anything above 2.5 on the top number, I want to know what's going on. It helps us debunk what's happening. It's measuring electromagnetic fields. So buildings, wiring, cell phones, things like that can make it go off a little bit, like 1 to 2 milligauss. But I'll be looking at things bigger. Don't worry about your phone. It's fine. So above 2.5. The bottom number is ambient temperature, which means it's telling us how cold it is by using this little thermometer right here.
His thing.
Well, in the event that he finds something, we can debunk it or prove it by finding out where it is and seeing what's going on. Yeah, see? You're kind of my multitasker.
So the closer that gets to it, the more.
Oh, wait a minute. We haven't even gotten to that point yet.
Okay.
You have one more function.
This is a lot of instructions.
Something gets close to the antenna, it will go off. The closer it gets, the higher pitch it's going to go. You wanted blinky lights? There they are. So, we don't always use this because it's very distracting for me as I'm trying to give you guys history. So I turned it off for right now. I'll show you more about it at our first stop. So again, focus on the numbers in your red screen for now.
So right now, all I pay attention is to the top number, and then when there's something with his, I pay attention to the second number?
Yeah.
Okay. That's not too bad.
See? Told you. Yeah. See how I laid this out for y'all?
This one is stuck on artistic. I'm artistic.
Well, it's not going to be stuck on anything. It's a matter of...
just showed up.
There's no time frame for it to spit out. It's not going to be like every 30 seconds it's going to give us a word. It might actually give us 3 or 4 terms in a very quick span where you might not even be able to read the first 3, just the 4th. That's why we have the list. The cool thing about the list is it has timestamps. So in the event something's relevant, I know where to watch the video, where to listen to the Spirit Box audio. So again, I'll be taking notes on what you hear in real time and also the readings that you tell me. I keep a little notebook on me so that way everything goes into your analysis. Yeah, it's a lot to do.
It is.
What happens if I touch something, like a button?
Then you let me know and I fix it.
Okay.
You guys can't break anything.
Are these side buttons? Are they?
I'm going to show you more about that when we get to see what I mean.
I mean, like,
More questions.
my thumb is going there, so I don't know if I touch it or not.
Can I just ask, do you want to solve to shut off our phones?
You don't need to.
No?
Okay. I just saw 3.3 for a second.
Okay.
I kid you not.
We're also on a
it's
right next to an electrical
It could be.
pole.
Right next to what?
See? That's why you guys keep me around.
There we go.
We're next to what?
We're right next to the electrical pole.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not exciting.
I am, again, like I said, I am not here to make things up for y'all. So I will debunk things all night long. I'll kind of help discount what's not, legit coming out of your list. And even things coming out of yours, I'm like, nah, we hear that word all the time. That's just part of one of our regular commercials. So even like the word Charleston, you're listening to Charleston radio stations. So if you tell me you hear the word Charleston, I'm not even going to write it down. Just because we hear it so often.
So did you come to Charleston because of your work? Yeah.
Partly.
Or because of the history.
Well, it's a very old. Well, old cities tend to have more spirits.
So I'm a writer first. First and foremost, that's what I do. I do write fiction about death and the afterlife.
Okay.
So I've been doing that for over 20 years now. Oh, God, I don't even want to put my age out there. But I had a real job once, and I walked away from 6 figures to come write books and to do this, to take you guys ghost hunting. So,
And do you love it?
You have no idea.
Yeah.
Like, I can't explain how much fear comes out of walking away from that kind of salary and rolling the dice to see what's going to happen. And I just told you, like, I'm nearly sold out for the next 2 weeks. Like,
What kind of job was it?
I was in retail management, managing over 400 employees for 21 years.
This job sounds more fun.
A little bit.
Sounds like boring, yeah?
And do you like living in Charleston?
I do.
Yeah.
So, I don't live directly in the city.
Okay.
So I live almost an hour from here,
Oh.
which is still considered Charleston, because Charleston is giant. So it's a pretty large city. But yeah, I live in a nice little suburb, brand new house. Like the day they finished it 6 months ago, I moved in the next day. So nice little suburb. Dogs have backyards.
You're not immersed in the middle of this age-old. Okay, cool.
But I still come down here probably once or twice a month, where I am literally just walking around with an EMF meter and a few spirit boxes and seeing what's happening, see if I can find new locations, how can I change up the tour. Like, I'm constantly researching, and I'm always reading.
Cool.
Not to mention I'm an English tutor during the daytime, so it's all about writing for me.
Yeah.
So
Okay, cool.
Abby's like, can we talk about ghosts now?
I think Abby's just jamming to the music.
Probably.
Kind of both.
So let's talk about why we started here. Place behind me, Big John's. Big
John's
John.
dead.
What's that?
He's dead, isn't he?
Yeah, of course he is. What are you talking about him if he wasn't?
Murdered his wife, maybe. Who knows?
Hang on. Let me tell the story, okay?
Imagine being stuck in a car 12 hours a day.
Wow.
I know.
I keep him awake.
Okay, is this like bestie? Like,
Yeah.
Okay, I figured as much. Okay. So that's why they're ragging on you so much. Got it. All right, Big John, football player for the 1947 New York Giants. This was his bar back in the day, right? So he obviously owned the place, and he would sit in the back of the bar telling the bartender if the cadets coming over from the Citadel, if they were old enough to drink or not. One night, two guys come in, they're not old enough to drink. He has a bartender throw them out. Are you going to heckle me all night? I can kick them right back. I have teenagers older, I have kids older than you two.
Go ahead, we give you permission.
Yeah, I might.
That's not, behave.
Okay. So, bartender throws them out. They come back the next night and they try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. John sees what's going on, gets up from the bar, and just beats the hell out of these two. Just pounds them right into the floor. A couple of gunshots go off, and John gets hit in the neck, and the bullet lands in the wall, so it just grazed him. He gets up after being shot, goes back to the bar, and tells the bartender to get him another beer, get the two guys on the floor in an ambulance. Nobody dies in that story, so what's haunting the place? The bullet hole is allegedly still here. When I say allegedly, they just renovated this place last year. So even if it's not here, Big John's blood is still here. People that sit in the front of this bar tend to get a little queasy, nauseous, headaches, very light symptoms. I bring this up on purpose because fingers crossed we're going to be dealing with paranormal activity. And I don't know how it's going to affect any of you. I won't say that I've never had to call EMTs or paramedics to come pick somebody up. So,
Really?
Really.
Okay.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, seriously. Okay. So this is probably the most serious thing I will tell you guys all night long. If anybody has any of those symptoms, I need to know immediately. Like, it's a big deal. So the very first time somebody passed out on my tour, I was in CPR class the next day. I haven't had to use it yet, but things can happen. The last story I will tell you tonight, I will definitely tell you what happened when somebody passed out at that location and why, because it is relevant to the story. You can take it with a grain of salt if you want. I'm not, again, I know I'm a fiction writer, but I don't make stuff up for this. So, let's not think about our own health, because that probably put a little bit of concern on some of you.
He looks at the old folks.
These two are like, are we going to move from this spot?
I mean, my legs aren't getting tired.
Okay, let him continue.
We had a big earthquake here in 1886. If you guys took any kind of Charleston history tour, you probably already knew that. Have you guys taken any tours yet?
No.
Okay, well, we all talk about it because it's a big deal for us, because we're not supposed to have earthquakes. We're the East Coast, not California.
Yeah.
This building is also where the first death occurred from that earthquake, allegedly. A piece of the mantle you see in the middle also wraps around the front on the East Bay side. It broke off, struck somebody in the back of the head, and killed them, and they say you could see his ghost in the middle of the East Bay Street in the middle of the night. I don't have any proof of that story, so I say allegedly and apparently a lot. It's just a great segue so nobody's thinking about getting sick on the tour. So, because again, some people actually have that major concern, and it is a major concern. Yes. So, you guys ready to go
Stop
something
looking
now?
at me.
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, let's head this way.
Go.
Let's go.
Does everybody remember what you're supposed to look for?
I'm going to find the...
Have you ever gotten sick?
Me personally?
Yeah.
Yes, but not in the way I told you.
Just like in
It's
a
probably COVID.
No, like, I have epilepsy, I have a seizure.
Oh.
A seizure. I have epilepsy. So I was actually affected by the location. I'm heavily medicated. So, okay. So, I'm out here 6 to 7 nights a week. I know where we're going. We're not dealing with anything dark.
Okay.
So we'll be fine.
Okay.
All right.
But again, I'll keep an eye on you.
Okay.
So let's talk about where we are. You have to imagine, most of my nights I'm out here with 8 to 10 people. So this is a very quick stop. Again, this is, the first level, nice and easy. So this is the big red barn lot. And we are going to hit a few spaces like this. So, Evan, that's exactly why I told you, like, people don't like their cars filmed. So we're going to hit 3 spaces like this, where there's going to be other people's vehicles.
Okay.
So just be mindful of people walking to their cars.
Okay. Perfect.
Normally, when I have my larger groups, I get them to spread out in this area, but we're going to stay together.
Okay.
The history here is really simple. This is the same red barn that held horses that delivered milk and eggs to the residents of Charleston. Okay. So, This is where we keep the horses for your carriage rides now. They can hear us. We're not using lasers tonight, so I'm not super worried that anybody's going to be flashing lasers on the building. Motion. You can't see the lasers until something passes through. Then we use a special camera to be able to see through the lasers when something does occur, so we can create stills. And yeah, it's a whole, again, I'm set up for full 10 people.
When you do an investigation now, how many teams do you have?
Usually one.
Yeah, just you and somebody else? Okay. Just checking, because you have a lot of equipment.
I do. And I usually run it all myself.
Okay.
So I normally will wear like a crazy vest or a jacket where it has lots of pockets, and cargo pants are a must for a guy like me, so there's always something running. And just imagine, like, ghosts don't care what time of day it is. I do this nighttime thing for you guys. So when I go to museums and places where there's death and that kind of thing, usually all of that stuff is just running on me, and I watch or listen to it later. So nobody really knows what I'm doing. I get to enjoy the museum. I'm just geared up. So that way, and I'm not walking in with a giant backpack. Like, I have a small side satchel that I'll use. And those kind of things. So when I go on vacation to St. Augustine, the wife said no ghost hunting gear. It'll be in my small bag. So that way I can get some recordings from some of the historical markers there. But yeah, when I usually go, my wife is usually there for pictures, because all of my investigations are a podcast, and then I write a blog for it to show off all the evidence. And then now I have a co-host for the podcast, so she and I have been working together too in smaller locations, just to kind of get used to each other's different methods. Like, she has her own equipment, she has, and obviously I have mine, but we each have things that the other person doesn't.
Sure.
So we're both
and different styles.
Yeah, it's always different styles.
Yeah.
So, all right, back to where we are. Spirit boxes. We're using 2 of them tonight. This is not television. This is not, is somebody here? Right? Because everybody wants to ask that. Yes, everybody has a question. If somebody says no, that means somebody's here. Oh. Yeah.
What if they say yes?
Well, then.
Still not enough proof to me. We're going to be asking questions throughout the night that aren't yes or no questions. So in this space, for example, when I normally have my spirit box team spread out, because like I said, I run at least 4 of them on a bigger team, I say, ask questions you already know the answers to, like, what color is the big red barn? The reason I ask that is because you obviously know we're looking and listening for the color red. However, you're listening to song lyrics and DJs to convey messages back. The word red might not be available during that time frame. Fire truck, blood, heart. Those 3 things are specifically red. I would take that as an acceptable answer. What color is the big red barn? Blood. We're good. However, most of the night, I'm going to require 2 happenings, either an EMF reading or some other spirit box correlation to be able to match things up. For example, if you hear the number 40 in your spirit box and you have the word art on your word list, Art Faircloth was number 40 on Big John's team. You kind of see where I have to put these clues together. I'm not going to take one thing and say, number 40, that was Art Faircloth, and we don't have art at all. So I'm not going to make things up or even try to tie things together. Sometimes things, like I said, if you hear the number 1, like you had mentioned earlier, that could be a correlation. I'm like, that's a good start. I'm going to wait for more, and you're going to see where I'm going to hold back some information. And I do that on purpose, so that way you guys, again, aren't looking for specific things. Here, I want you to just get used to what you're listening for, which is the song lyrics and DJs, not, specifically, one thing or another. So spirit boxes, that's pretty much how we're going to use those all night long, because most of the stories I'm going to tell you tonight, we're talking about people from the 17 and 1800s. They have the same names, Georges, Charles, like we need to know who the hell we're talking to. We need a secondary clue as to which George, which Charles, those kind of things. So your particular device, you're going to try to do 2 things. I know we're a much smaller group, but you're going to try to keep a person in view. Okay. Reason being is because we're going to be the warmest thing in your frame. The reason why we do that is because it gives us a nice array of color. Okay. So it's much easier to see somebody that's 97 to 99 degrees. Let me know if she goes over. We send her home.
I'm in menopause. I'm usually over.
But my point is, it's much easier to see those cold spots go by if there's something warm in the picture.
Okay.
So even on our hot July days, we're still the warmest things out here. So take that with a grain of salt. The other thing you're going to do is try to keep the sky out of view. Some places that's going to be impossible. The reason I say try to do that is because that blue dot that's bouncing around is looking for surfaces. Okay. There's no surface on the sky, so it's going to automatically default to go to the sky because that's going to be the coldest thing. Okay. So again, some places it's going to be impossible, but again, do your best. Your particular device. See how she straightened up real quick when I looked over? I might be the one to keep her in check.
That's it.
let's talk about that REM pod. Have you seen any numbers move at all on there yet?
Not really, just kind of like 0.1, 0.3 is the highest.
Irrelevant.
So far.
Let's talk about that REM pod. Pull up the antenna for me. Yep. Now flip the device around. There's a little flap back there. Lift it up. There's two little white buttons underneath there. The one closer to the edge is the one you want to click into the device.
Run?
Yes. Get all the way in.
Oh, so I have to hold it then, right?
No. You just have to, you'll feel it click, so you're good. So what you just did was you created an EMF field around the antenna. So if something gets close, it's obviously going to make a noise. There's a way to reset it, which is what those buttons are that you were asking about earlier on the spine. The very bottom one, let's say because you walked too heavy and it jostled or you moved it around and it went off. You want to make sure that it's not coming from you, and that's the reason why it went off, so you reset it. That's what that bottom button does.
Even if I put my finger near it, I have to reset it?
So I'm going to hold it there, I'm going to touch it, I'm going to move. It's not doing anything where it's, sorry, I keep blinding you. But normally, if it goes off based on motion, you still want to reset it to make sure it's not from your movements. This device is meant to be set up on a table or a flat surface and see if it goes off on its own. We're walking around.
Which one is the reset one?
Nope, nope.
No, the
Nope,
spine.
on the
spine.
Oh man, I thought you meant the spine.
That's the back.
They're young. They don't.
Spine is on the back.
You know they
Spine
don't
of a
even
book.
read. You know
That's
they
the
don't
back.
read real books.
Oh, shit,
I
that's
do
right.
read a book. I read a book like a month ago. That's embarrassing.
I'm the writer that doesn't have book sales. I should know
Well,
this.
hey, we use Kindle. We'll read it on Kindle.
He said the white buttons.
No, that's the one that turns
And
it
then
on and off.
after he said the reset button was on the
So
button.
are you right-handed? Put it in your right hand. Decide with your thumb. There's 4 buttons.
Yeah.
The very bottom button is the one you want.
Can I hold it?
I'll do a backup of it.
Every time it goes off, you should press it, just to make sure, to reset.
Oh, okay.
Perfect, you got it. So at times, I'm going to say turn your REM pod off. That's the white button in the back, not on the spine.
Okay. What does the other white button do?
It actually gives us a temperature gauge. So if the temperature drops more than 5 degrees, which could be a very big false positive, it gives us another warning signal, and it's very annoying because we're in cold temperatures out here already, so it's going to go all over the place. So we're going to walk through here slowly until we get to our next space and learn much deeper history than ponies and football players. Is that fair? Let me know if you hear anything.
Sure.
Let me know if any readings come up.
Yep.
All right, let's walk through slow.
Well, keep up with him, I guess.
But that's like my regular speed.
Oh, come on.
The blue dot keeps going up.
My heads are cold. That's right. Bully. Why am I laughing? Stop it.
I am careful.
We're going down. Oh, that's because I'm sticking out of the ball. Stop it. Are you laughing because the people walking?
Alright, so we're not expecting this on Thursday night. Yeah. I was just here a couple nights ago and there was like 2 cars in here. It's crazy.
Come this way.
Yeah, it's weird. Alright, so Ivan, this is again, am I pronouncing that properly by the way?
Yeah.
Ivan?
Yep.
Okay. So, and I'll be honest, me, ignorant American, I looked at that as Yvonne, and I was looking for 4 females. So,
That's right.
Because I'm an ignorant American. That's so. Notice I went through the name thing pretty quickly. I wanted to make sure I had it matched up, just in case it was Abby. You know. Well, you guys giggle because at that point I didn't know.
You look like an Abby.
All right. So, this space. Welcome to another beautiful site of Charleston. This is another parking lot. I know. What word list? What's on your word list right
Oh,
now?
I gotta push this button
Yep.
here.
Get that. Let me take a look.
Louder,
Got a
hill.
lot.
Oh, we're doing a lot.
Okay.
We're supposed to ask
I
questions.
won't reveal anything yet. Not yet. I'm going to give them to you. So, let me tell you what this space is. First off, you 2 Spirit Box folks, I'm not going to be giving you questions like what color is George Washington's white horse, like what we did over there with the Red Barn. Let's be casual. You got somebody passing through the parking lot there, going to his car. It's going to be a little weird. The rest of you are fine. They don't care. It's the filming they give a crap about. But anyway, so this space used to be the Charles and Eliza Pinckney Mansion site. So their mansion actually sat in the front of this lot, facing East Bay Street. Eliza's garden. Notice I said Eliza's on your list.
Was in here, yeah.
It's not uncommon to even get things preemptively on our way in. So the name Eliza did show up. So, which is very cool. You getting ratings?
No, I hit 1.1. That's it.
2.5. That's what I wanted. So Eliza's garden was lined up with Five Church Restaurant and came all the way across, and we are standing in the servant and slave quarters for the home. So, who the heck were these people? Charles and Eliza had a son named Charles, and they had a nephew named Charles. 3 different Charleses, in case you lost track. The son and the nephew were signers of our Constitution for South Carolina, but I don't like talking about politics any more than the next guy, so we're going to move on. I just like to mention it, so that way, in case a Charles pops up, we know which one it is. Eliza married Charles at a young age according to today's standards, not the colonial times that she came from. So kind of keep that in mind.
Well, was she 12?
No. Okay. Today's standards, not colonial times. Yeah, according to today's.
Yeah,
Okay,
12 is
tell us
young.
How old was she?
I'm not going to. You're going to find out on your spirit boxes. So
Look
hang
at your
on.
word.
The reason why I bring this up is because Charles was over double her age.
Over double her age.
Okay.
It's not as bad as you think.
Okay.
So, you can ask about that after we start spreading out a little bit in here. So you can ask how old she was. Numbers and names usually don't lie. Eliza married him because her father over in England thought he was dying, and she didn't believe he was dying, so she stayed put. It's 1744. In America, we're not a country yet. You don't marry for green cards or citizenship, right? There's no such thing. So she did marry him out of love. This is a true love story. After he died, remember he's over double her age, she did remain a widow for the remainder of her years. This was her best friend. So, anyway, she was right. Dad didn't die right away. So, apologetically, he starts sending her gifts from England to this space. One of those gifts happened to be the plant indigo. You guys have been in town for at least a few hours that I know of. You've seen the word indigo somewhere, I promise you. Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. Nobody's wearing it tonight. So, I know, right? There's usually at least one example. But anyway, that's how we use it today. However, when it got here, she didn't know what to do with it. Reset it?
Yep.
Always reset.
Oh, I'm at 4.2.
Good. Oh, I'll write that down in a moment. So, she had to use her slaves and learn how to keep it cultivated. It's not always warm here. So once she had it figured out, she moved it to a plantation just north of here in Mount Pleasant, then calls her dad and says, the rice plantations are going downhill. We can make a killing with this indigo. I just need some contacts. So now we have an international businesswoman in colonial times. This is something absolutely unheard of. That's the nature of her business. Let's get into the weird stuff, because that's why you guys are all here. You want the weird stuff. Eliza was the second wife named Eliza from Charles. Same year. First wife Eliza dies. 6 months later, he marries this one. Ironically, it's very smart or very stupid, depending on how you look at it. But ironically, they both have a maiden name that starts with the letter L. So if we want to find out which Eliza we're talking to, you ask what her maiden name is. The mansion's not here anymore. You can obviously ask what happened to it, and then what year did that happen. So hopefully we get a very specific year and a very specific happening. So, what do you got now?
Nothing.
Okay.
I was just gonna say I better burn down and kill people.
How do you know?
I don't know. I have my money on it. That's kind of common.
Eliza's children. I told you there's at least one. Yes, there are more.
Yeah, it's Charles, right?
Yeah. Sign of the Constitution. Somebody's
Oh, I
paying
just said
attention over
6.2. 6.2.
Okay, 6.2 and 4.2. That's what you have so far? Okay. Ask how many children she had and what their names are, and that's it. The only reason I say that's it is because there's a tragedy among those children. You don't want to poke the bear on this one. All activity will stop, including the EMF readings that we're getting. So, ask how many, what the names are, that's it. As far as Eliza's death, that's where she gets pretty open. Ask anything you want to. Ask her how old she was, ask her what she died from, where she buried, and what U.S. president was a pallbearer at her funeral. Again, you have to remember the year she married, and that should help you out a little bit as far as what to listen for. Again, I'm not giving you any answers to these questions until before we leave, and hopefully you guys capture a few things between your two spirit boxes. They may even talk introvertently, so you might ask a question and the answer come up here, and vice versa. So again, We're going to stay within the confines of the slot. We don't go in between vehicles. Again, people are very funny about their cars. I was not suspecting this on a Thursday night. So it's kind of limiting us to space. So we're going to be in the center or near walls where there's no vehicles nearby. Like that little cubby up there would be probably good.
Okay.
As far as the camera goes, nice slow movements, be casual, kind of keep in mind what's going on, but basically we should all be following you because you know where the hot spots are going to be. Now that specific device, I've seen it go all the way up to 148 in here. That's running a microwave on high and you're standing next to it. Like dangerous levels.
Can I just ask something though? Because aren't we told like it gets cold? But that's his reader. Why does hers, what is hers reading?
Electromagnetic fields. So for example, your cell phone sends out a pulse, right? So it's getting a signal all the time. Those are electromagnetic fields. So that's why cell phones can even set it off. But it's going to be in small little bursts, like little 0.1s and 0.3s. That's why I'm looking for 2.5s and higher. The other reason for that is because on the blinky meter that they got excited about, the first green light on there is 0, and then the second one is 2.5. So that way I have a comparison. So when I have my groups of 10 out here, yes, somebody usually has the blinky lights, and I kind of compare. They have a 15, what do you have? So forth and so on. So that way I have a matter of comparing what's actually happening.
Okay.
But again, yours is way more accurate than the blinky light one. So again, that's why I like to use it, just because I might have a 15 or a 20 on the blinky light, and she has like a 4 or 5, just because they're measuring different types of EMF fields.
Okay.
So that's what she's also measuring temperature. She has 3 different measurements on there that she's working with.
Okay.
So one is for motion, to break an EMF field that she created on the antenna. The ambient temperature from a thermometer, and then the EMF field that's coming from everything around her. So, Abby, have you heard anything?
Just static, basically, and just songs.
It's not easy.
Songs?
Yeah, she's going to hear songs.
Oh, but you didn't want to know what songs she heard?
If she heard lyrics,
I heard Post Malone.
she's going to tell me artists, because that's what all teenagers do. She's not going to tell me the lyrics, she's going to tell me the artist.
Well, what song was it?
I don't know.
Okay.
I need to
Okay, so we spread now what?
So, no, we follow
Are
Becca.
you writing down the recordings? You have 4.2 and 6.2, right?
I'm going to double check it over. Like, I don't know.
Okay, well, just make sure, in case there was like a miscommunication.
Nope, I got it.
Ask the question, Becca.
Where are you? Eliza. Oh, 2.6.
Okay. At this point, I want anything above 5.2. We don't want every little tiny inch.
Anything above 5.2?
Yeah.
Which is your, what was the other one? I'm sorry.
6.2.
6.2. That's what we're looking for.
Yeah, well, you originally said 2.5. What
I did.
happened to the 2.5?
No, it's a matter of growing it. I don't want to give you 1,000 different numbers to look at. I want you to see the progression of how high it actually got. I'm going to put them in numerical order. So right now, 4.2 is the lowest one, and then 6.2, and now I want to keep progressing it even higher.
So make it higher than 6.2, actually.
And then we're going to keep going up from there.
How Eliza again?
Okay. The mansion. Not a movement. The mansion.
But then can I ask a different question, or do I keep asking?
Whatever you want to do. Usually asking the same question over and over again is more effective.
Abby, you have to ask the question too.
How many children did you have?
Dad, you ask, when did you get married?
Eliza, when did you get married?
And I'll be, what happened to you?
Eliza, when? So I have to keep one of you guys in my box here. Eliza, when did you get married?
Here, come with me.
Becca's gonna
Okay, I'm following you, babe. Eliza, when did you get married? Answer me. Eliza?
Oh, I keep calling it a hotel, a mansion. What happened to you?
Eliza, when did you get married? How old were you when you died? Eliza, when did you get married?
left. Good. Pretty cool stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, normally, if I was a car thief, that would be my first tool. Because I could see the heat signature of every vehicle in here. So that's why people get a little weird about it. They don't know what we're doing. But even if they did, you know what I mean? They know I have a thermal. I would be worried if somebody had a thermal staring at my car.
Liza, when did you get married? When did you die? How many children did you have? No? Are you hitting the numbers or?
No, I'm not hitting anything right now. Eliza went to bed. Eliza, wake up.
So am I supposed to have the blue dot in the camera at all time?
It's going to bounce around. Again,
because right now it's right at the top, right?
Yeah,
so.
And that's because it's trying to go to the sky. And again, I said some of these places it's going to be impossible to try to do that. But it's just, this is one of those very open spaces. As we kind of move throughout the city, it'll be a lot easier to do. But even like with this right here, I would just be watching through like what's going on behind everybody there.
14.4.
Nice. Looking for blue and black spots to start moving on their own.
How many children?
She's actually getting some good readings. Oh, she's got a little green blip. I seen that. I saw it.
You have to reset it, right?
Yep, always. Every time.
Can I say that I've been asking what happened to your mansion, and Abby heard burning. Did you really hear burning?
Yeah, I did. Right after you said that. But she's not responding to how many kids did you have?
Just because you're hearing real time doesn't mean that's why you're recording everything.
That's
Yes, 40% real time, 60%.
Yvonne, what was your question? When did you get married?
Should be how old she was when she was.
Shoot, was that
I knew it.
How old was she?
Yeah, I think I was
Becca,
doing
you
both.
also thought people died in that fire.
I thought maybe the service died because you said servant quarters were here, kind of.
Right there.
Back where we were.
Yeah, so it's like might have been some service traps.
I wonder how it started.
I know exactly how it started. Yeah, you can. I'd be interested to see if it comes up. Nobody's ever actually asked that.
How did the fire start? How did the fire start?
Why is it so bright? It's normally really dark.
I want to know how old she was. I say 12.
Alexa, when did you die? When did you die?
How many children did you have?
When did you die, Eliza? When did you die?
Have you heard anything else? Burning came up pretty loud and clear. Not surprised.
Are you asking her age when she got married?
Yep.
No, her age, yes.
Yeah.
We don't seem like we have a lot going on. I'm going to give it about another minute before I start revealing these answers. So listen up. It's all on you. No pressure. Let's
Get
just
married,
slowly
Eliza.
start moving our way to the back so that way you can listen along the way. Maybe you're just in a dead zone.
When did you get married, Eliza?
No pun intended.
Yeah.
So I'm your subject now. Yeah, let's go over to you. Let's see if Liza's hanging out with you. Oh, Liza might be hanging out with you.
Yeah?
No, she doesn't like you.
When did you die, Eliza?
I literally just went to 0 as I got closer to you. You're a funny one, Eliza. Hey, don't say that about Eliza.
Oh, I'm going to say that.
No, I'm
It's
saying
fake.
that.
Eliza, when did you die? When did you die? When did you die, Eliza? Oh.
And so,
Let's cut your video.
is there anything we can do?
Is there something common like that? Like footsteps are a pretty common thing, honestly.
But she would walk up to
It's a shuffle. And you can talk to her, see what happens. Well, the cool thing is like a lot of people will ask me about the equipment and what apps that I like to use that I actually trust. Because let's face it, most of them are pretty bogus anyway. So there's a list of which apps I actually trust and use that don't cost you guys anything. So that way, when you guys do want to try to communicate, I mean, the word list you're using, it's a great tool. I do have an upgraded version. I paid for it, but there's obviously a free version.
That was me.
But it's one of those. There's a lot of apps you can actually try out just to kind of test the waters. So when you hear the shuffling, there's an EMF reader that you can get on your phone. I don't know how they work, but they do, most of them. I've tried out dozens. They usually are pretty accurate. The Spirit Box apps are great. Just depends on which one you're using. So just a matter of, Abby, you got anything else? All right, let's start revealing some answers.
Oh, yes.
What?
I want to know answers.
Oh, yeah. She wants to know answers. All right, so, yeah, we can hit that square on there and kind of give that...
Like, one time we were in Florida and our car was covered in pollen, right?
Oh my God, that was...
Yeah, we're going through that now. It's just that the rain has kind of dampened it. I don't know when you guys got into town. This is considered a quiet area, just so you guys know, because we're next to a hotel. So let's start with Abby. Have you heard anything on your Spirit Box on the way here?
I did not hear names, but I just heard a 42. I don't know if that has to do with something.
I don't know, but I'll find out. Again, I'm not here to make stuff up. I like numbers. Numbers are usually easy to research. Any names pop up?
No, not since Brandon.
Okay. All right, so when we crossed over that last crosswalk where you were wondering if we were allowed to jaywalk or not, that was where the original...
Yeah, they got mad at me when I did.
Welcome to America, dear. We break it all the time. So that was where the original Charlestown Wall used to be. Charleston used to be called Charlestown, the walled city. So this is one of the first streets we ever had, because we're inside the original Charlestown area. Yep. So that's one of the reasons why I like to bring you down here. So these two buildings, they weren't here. Obviously, they had little tiny shotgun houses here. If you're unfamiliar with that term, it's a 1 to 2 room house. You can shoot a gun in the front, it'll go out the back. That's why they call it that. So I have the full list of residents of every person that's ever lived down here. Now, the interesting thing is that I get the same 2 names every 6 to 7 weeks. The names Benjamin and John. So you sound like very common names. However, that's 2 out of 5 people that lived here in 1801. I get them every 6 to 7 weeks. Do I have anything significant about 1801? I don't. However, what we're standing on, these are Belgian blocks. If you've watched the paranormal TV shows, you've probably heard the term limestone before, right? How it kind of stirs things up a little bit. These bricks you're standing on are made purely of granite. They're called Belgian blocks. So anything that comes straight from the earth, like limestone or granite, they say can actually hang on to the consciousness of memories, which makes sense of why I keep getting the same names over and over and over again. Now, where are we in the loop? We're in like week 3/4. Of when I hear those 6 to 7, every 6 to 7 weeks. We don't get a whole lot of EMF here, so when you do get something that's particularly high, it's very interesting. Your building will go off a little bit, just so you know. Now, they did do an archaeological dig underneath these bricks. They found some of these people's tools, their clothing, their silverware. They were able to classify them as lower class, which makes sense. Across the street on East Bay, yes?
Do I tell you that I'm at 3?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm at 3.
Cool. I'm going to write that one down on our way. Across the street from where we were walking down East Bay was where the other side of the wall would have been, which means those tall buildings wouldn't have been there. The smell of low tide would have been coming through here quite often, which means our higher society would not be living down here. Now, if you've been down to the Battery, you've noticed our houses are skinny in the front and go long back. Have you guys noticed that about our houses here?
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's two reasons for that. First off, you were taxed based on how much street side you took. So the skinnier your house, the less taxes. The other reason is they didn't want the smell of low tide coming through. We have piazzas, basically a porch with a door on it. It keeps the smell of low tide from entering the house at the low level. You open up your second story window and it brings the cool air in from the water and air conditions the whole house. That's why those houses are designed that way. And even some of them down on the Battery are kind of at a slant. It's just the way the breeze comes in off of that little area from the water. So again, when you go down there, it will make more sense on why those houses are angled the way they are. Now I did tell you, like, the Pinckney Mansion house, like that mansion, was broad. It was outside the city walls. This is also a very prominent political family. They had the money to pay the taxes. It was a matter of, like, it was bragging rights for them. They didn't give a damn about how skinny they need to make their house. It was like, we have a nice, beautiful home, we're going to show it off. So, the other thing about this alley and where it gets its name from is because the Freemasons held their Masonic Lodge here before people lived here. Again, Lodge Alley, that's where you're standing. So, we do get words like Freemason, Mason, Brick. I've even heard the word Illuminati come down here several times. I chuckle every time I hear it because, again, it's a conspiracy theory, but at the same time, I only get that word when I'm in this alley, and it comes from your type of spirit box. So again, very interesting space overall. In the event that the two names pop up in any way, shape, or form, I do get a third name every once in a while, and her name is Jane. Again, I don't know who these people are other than their names. I don't have anything significant about them. It's just like I'm getting that same loop over and over again. So if something does pop up, obviously I'll give you the full list and access to it so you guys can look at it for yourself. And that way we can actually prove it's the same two names, Benjamin and John, every single time. So when we go through the rest of this alley, and then we're going to stop your video once we reach the end, only because we're going to be cutting through a neighborhood. I'm literally taking you right on the edges of where tour guides are allowed to take you. As we get closer to the next alley, you're going to start to see other larger groups. Remember, they're allowed to go to 20. A lot of times, if it's busier, which I don't expect tonight because of the rain, I usually pick our spots and we just stay out of everybody else's way. They're going to tell a story and move on. We're going to stop, talk about the history, and then spread out like what we did at the Pinckney Mansion in some of these spaces. So here's what's going to happen next. I'm going to take you to another alley. However, I can't take you through it like what we're doing now because I've been booted out. You have to remember what you guys are doing right now. We have noisemakers and blinky lights and all kinds of stuff. It is residential at the end, and it's unfair to the other tours for us to spread out and investigate when they have large groups of 20. Imagine groups of 20 going down here. Like, we would just be in their way. However, I still tell the story only because we still get enough on the spirit boxes that actually gives us enough evidence that this story is definitely true. So, is that helping you out?
Yeah.
Yeah, things are awesome. But anyway, I still tell the story like once we get there. Then we're going to go through some myths and legends based on what you guys are giving me from your spirit boxes. Then the last investigation that we're going to do, again, these are like little mini pocket investigations. The last one is about a female pirate. So if you're into pirates, like this is a little...
A female pirate?
Yes, ma'am. A little bit crazy stuff.
Women's history.
Yep. I'm all about Women's History Month. Obviously, we're talking about women throughout the night. So it's just kind of, I do a lot of promotions during Women's History Month, and I don't change anything. It just so happens to be my tour is a lot about women. So it's where most of the ghosts come from. You guys are haunting us. So take it for what it is. All right, so we're going to walk through the rest of this location. Let me know if you hear anything, and then, Evan, I'll let you know when to cut that video.
Okay.
All right, let's do this.
Sounds good.
Oh, I got a question. How do I know this isn't just interference from the hotel?
You don't.
Okay.
It is very rare that that thing moves off of 0.1, 0.2.
And I've been cruising around 1.9. I'm at 2.3. I've been cruising around.
Jesus Christ. I'm gonna break my ankles.
Is it weird that I said the word show?
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Smell it. It's
Yep.
potent.
Is that legal up where you guys are at?
Yep, that is.
Really?
30 gram.
Yeah, it's not legal in Charleston. No.
It is in some states.
Yeah, in some states, yes. Florida, where you're going, definitely yes. So you're probably going to see a lot of that, especially in Kissimmee. But here, the highest thing that we're allowed to have is the deltas, which is like the Delta 8s and 10s, which is basically a vape.
Okay.
And it is made from hemp, so not marijuana.
Hmm.
A little bit of a grittier taste.
Yeah. More for pain?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. Or seizures. So, anyway. Not that I want to give Abby ideas.
I know. Why do you have to bring seizures?
Sorry. Alright, so the alley behind me is called Philadelphia Alley now. It used to be called Duelers Alley. So this is where the duels used to occur for the city of Charleston.
Cool.
Now, we all talk about one specific duel because it actually happened, and of course, there's a lot of things that could occur for us out here with the spirit boxes. So definitely listen in if you can. I know it's difficult to get
Is
us
this a
both.
test of you?
No. I know. I'm going to give you all the answers here.
Okay.
Right. So it's not going to be like Pinky Mansion. So, a doctor moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Joseph Brown Ladd. He moves here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She has an attorney helping her out with all of this money. The attorney thinks the doctor is just after her cash, and he tells her to get rid of the doctor. So she does. And to prove that he's not just after her money, he moves here to Charleston. As he's coming into town, the coachman set him up to be robbed and killed. So it wasn't a very good start. You heard the word killed. So I said it's slightly relevant. I will still want another clue.
Was he choked? Because I got choked.
No. Somebody walking by, seeing what was going on. And he knew he was about to be robbed and killed. His name was Ralph Isaacs. I stop on Ralph's name because Ralph has the same initials as where the doctor came from. Rhode Island, Ralph Isaacs. R.I. has shown up here on multiple occasions. However, I need a secondary clue so I know if it belongs to the doctor or Ralph Isaacs. So he says, man, you don't want to stay here. He's got a man inside that's going to try to kill you with a gun. Right? He's going to rob you and take all of his money. So he says, I got some friends at 59 Church Street where you can rent a room and you can stay there. You'll be safe. So the doctor takes him up on his offer and the two of them become friends. And, obviously the doctor and Ralph. The doctor's practice starts to take off as he's been staying here a little while. He makes his own money now. He becomes known as the whistling doctor. Every haunted city you'll ever visit has some kind of whistle. Ours is a doctor. It just means Amanda's moving down soon. And he actually did whistle all the time. Him and Ralph go see plays together, but they can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. So that's just the way the hierarchy went. They talk about these plays on the way home. One night they go see William III from Shakespeare. They're talking about this new actress that was in town. The doctor thought she was great. Ralph, not so much. It gets a little bit heated when Ralph starts insulting the doctor's fiancée, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island. It gets pretty ugly, and they go their separate ways. Ralph is from here. He goes to his friends at the newspaper. The newspaper is where we actually used to get the news, not the internet. So anyway, he puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Not a very smart move. Yeah, pretty kind of a jerk move, right? So the doctor sees the ad and he rebuttals with, we're going to go to Duelers Alley, we're going to settle this. So what happens is they come down, they take them 20 paces, they turn, the doctor points his gun in the air and he shoots. He did not want to kill his friend. He just wanted to prove a point and show he had the courage to show up for the fight, which is often what happened during a duel back in these times. It wasn't always a loser. They would either shoot their gun into the ground, call it a truce, or they would shoot it in the air to prove, like, I'm not here to kill. So, Ralph has his one shot, and he puts it in the kneecap. Sorry, Abby, just have to be in front of me. Puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. So the doctor didn't die either. His friends pick him up, they carry him home to 59 Church Street, and the doctor dies 10 days later after bleeding out and refusing medical treatment. Remember, this guy's a doctor. He probably tried to heal himself through bleeding out. So, over Pinckney Mansion, he got shot in the left leg. This guy got shot in his right kneecap.
Okay, cool.
So, I know, lots of legs get shot in this area. Yeah, they do it. Ralph at this point. So they say as you walk through this alley, you can hear the whistles from the doctor. I want you to keep them mind, if you ever do go down there, turn on your voice recorders, check it out for yourselves later on, because you're probably more than likely going to hear it on the voice recorder versus in real time. When I used to take my groups down there before I got booted out, I would say you're going to listen to the voice recordings. However, all the locals know the story. So anybody walking up and down Cumberland Street or Queen Street, we all throw a whistle down the alley. I do it every night on my way home back to my garage. After I'm done touring with you guys, my garage is right there. I throw a whistle down every night. If my daughter's on the tour, we race to the alley to see who's going to throw the whistle first. So it's just one of those things. It's not going to be obvious. It's not going to be obvious at all. It's going to be very faint and in the background. It is very quiet down there, all times a day, and it is the most picturesque place we have. You notice now, the lighting is perfect. It is always like that. It is a gorgeous area. So, one of the reasons why I got kicked out of that place is because this alley didn't always come all the way through. So, which means that the bricks on the other side are older. I used to show off those bricks because they're sun-dried bricks from slave children. There's a full handprint and fingerprints from those slave kids at the other end of the alley. However, it is outside a gentleman's dining room window. I used to always tell my groups, it's just like a cemetery. People don't hang out where they're buried after they're gone. That kid is not staring at that handprint in the afterlife. We don't need to put a spirit box or an EMF meter near it. We're going to keep walking. However, the new neighbor caught us. I'm not supposed to be there. I've never been back since. So, the reason why I tell you all of this is because the dates are relevant to the very last story.
Do you remember the dates?
No. I'm going to tell you the dates.
Oh,
I know.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think you told us.
No, I didn't tell you the dates.
No, you didn't say the date.
So, the day I got booted out of there, it was the day before Thanksgiving in 2020, November 26th. I took off Thanksgiving. Obviously, nobody's going to tour on Thanksgiving, so that was the 27th. My next night, I had to reroute the tour to go up to where we're going tonight. That was November 28th, 2020. It's this female pirate story. I don't know the story very well, and I tell my group, we're going to wing it. Let's see what happens. I don't know how true the story is. I don't honestly believe it. Let's see. Somebody hears the number 300 on a spirit box, and I have no idea what the hell it means. The next morning, I start researching. We were there November 28th, 2020. The trial of Anne Bonny took place on November 28th, 1720. We were there on the exact 300-year anniversary of her trial. We also heard Anne Bonny's name there last night, that particular night, just her first name, but it was enough to put 300 and Anne together, and I said, okay, I guess I got to learn about pirates. So I've been reading as much as I possibly could about this particular story, building it up for what we actually captured. So, any words show up since we've been standing here?
I hit 3 twice.
3? We're standing next to a building that actually has electricity.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Not to mention the parking meters.
Migration, flood.
I don't know. Like
Gabriella?
No.
No.
Still nothing.
Gabriella.
T-bone. Okay. Your list is actually pretty weak tonight. No?
I don't know how I feel about that.
Alright, so we're going to go up and learn some myths and legends. We can probably cut your video for the remainder.
Not walking.
No. I use a lot of that for social media. Especially when we have one which is closer. We like harvest movies and stuff. It's super close. Yeah, we get a lot of that stuff. Alright, so let's rein it in over here a little bit in case tours like to come across. I know we haven't seen other than one tour tonight. That's where, well, honestly, I feel like I'm the only tour guide that works in the wintertime. Like, this is still winter for us.
Oh.
It's weird because, I mean, this is, come summertime, we'll be elbow to elbow down here fighting for space. Because this is a very popular corner. That's why I've been waiting for other terms and phrases for you guys to give me. Because there's literally like 15 stories around this corner. If you guys don't give me anything because you had a hard time hearing things or words weren't popping up, I go to my go-to stories, which is Sue Howard Hardy, the pirate stuff, and then we dive straight into Anne Bonny. So, we're going to be talking about the little building over there with the crosses on it. First off, those are not crosses, those are earthquake bolts. Earthquake bolts, the gist behind those is that they are turnbuckles. So if we have another earthquake, like what we did in 1886, which we haven't, you can turn those slowly, and it'll straighten the building back up again.
Oh.
It's a great idea, it just doesn't work. So, I talked to a lot of Californians, they make fun of us. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because those are the first earthquake bolts that we put in. Pardon me. You guys have probably seen earthquake bolts all over town. It's part of the Charleston charm, even though we know that they don't actually work. Now, even the apartment building behind it has earthquake bolts going through the floors. There are people coming through, so let's be casual if that can. I don't know where they're going if they're part of a tour or not. But there are... So, we have sand over 300 years old that is sitting in the top of that building. Very interesting space. Now, we are here because this building took 10 years to build, 1703 to 1713. It's a government building. For our government, that's a joke here. Like, and everyone says, yes, that sounds exactly like our government, 10 years, small building. But our story actually begins in the middle of it, which means this place is just familiar. It's kind of like using a toy to interact with a child ghost. We're here because we don't have many buildings this old. So, let's get into the story. There's a lot of twists. Follow me, girls. You guys ready?
Yeah.
1708. Young lady moves here from Ireland. Her name is Anne Cormack. She moves here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is her mother. Are you guys with me so far? Now, the three of them are running away from his wife. How mad was she? Just putting it out there. So, they land in Georgetown, just north of here. Dad buys a plantation. Mom dies pretty quickly, which means he now has to send young Anne down here in order to sell anything from the plantation to keep things afloat. Anne is probably about 9, 10, 11 years old by this time. So, back home in Ireland, they say she actually killed one of her servants with a knife to the belly. Like, she was kind of hardcore. She was a badass. I don't know if she was just a brat, but that's the mentality she kept her whole life. So, yes, put you in the belly. Just because you've been giving me a hard time all day. So, kind of keep that on the back of your brains as we talk about the rest of her story. So, we're going to fast forward. 1713, a building's done. 1715, pirates are coming through town. Anne is stoked. She's going to fall in love pretty quickly. This guy's name is James Bonney. Obviously, you can see where this is going, right? Marriage. So, Dad doesn't approve because he's a filthy pirate. They run away to Jamaica. They get married. Anne Cormack becomes Anne Bonny, your most famous female pirate of the Golden Age. Now, when she gets down there, this is not the swashbuckling, rum-drinking pirate that she wanted, like Captain Jack Sparrow. This guy's a privateer, which means he's a spy for the British. In her eyes, he's a coward. This is not who she wanted. A few years later, she falls in love again. Guy number 2. I'll keep track. This guy's name is John Rackham, a.k.a. Calico Jack. We're going to refer to him as Jack through the rest of the story. He has his own ship, and Anne wants to be part of the crew. Girls Curse pirate ships. Don't ask me about girls and curses on my tour. It just so happens to be that way. Between Sue Howard Hardy's picture and this, I don't know. But anyway, he makes a deal with her. If you dress like a guy and be a female in my quarters, you can join the crew. She's okay with this because Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy back home in Ireland to hide her away from his wife. So she's good. Let's do this. Let's put 2 and 2 together. She's a female in his quarters. She's eventually going to get pregnant. So, can't have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure it out. Yeah, sure. We'll go with that. So, he drops her off in Cuba. Go have the baby. Come back. We'll figure it out later. She's all right, fine. She has a baby. She returns with no baby. We have no idea what happens to this kid. A lot of holes in this story. So, she's also dressed like a female. She doesn't give a damn anymore about hiding her gender. This makes Jack pretty mad. Jack also just captured another pirate crew, and they're down below deck. Anne's going to go flirting to make Jack even more mad. Guy number 3. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female, just like a guy to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack just captured. So now we hang on, we're getting there. Now we have 2 females in the same ship doing the exact same thing. Remember, she thought this female was a guy. So her name is Mary Reed. Now, her and Mary become friends, possibly lovers. We never know. I know. The LGBTQ community loves this story. So, Anne becomes part of the crew, Mary becomes part of the crew, and the British find out where they are. They send their entire fleets to come and take down one pirate ship. Not very cool. Anne and Mary are the only 2 not drunk enough to come up and fight with their 1-bullet muskets. Obviously, an entire fleet of ships attacking them, they're going to be taken. So, as they're being arrested, Anne looks at Jack, the captain, the beau, and says, you should have fought like a man instead of going down like a dog. So, the word dog is a key word that will show up here quite often. The judge, his name is Nicholas Laws. I know I told you about Nicholas Trott over there. This is Nicholas Laws. Again, Nicholas over here. So Nick shows up here quite a bit too. He wants to see the 2 men that fought back by themselves. He's already tried and hung Calico Jack and the crew that was too drunk to come up and fight. It is the 2 ladies that go in front of them, in front of the judge, and reveal their gender, trying to save themselves. He doesn't care that they're female. He's still going to hang them. We plead our bellies was the last thing they said, basically trying to save themselves even further from a hanging. He says, fine, I'll send you both back to jail. It's illegal to hang a woman in 1720, or a pregnant woman in 1720. You can't do it. Anyway, so, sends them both back to jail. Dad is still here in Charlestown with all of his Irish money. He bails out Anne, brings her back home. She marries. That's husband number 2, guy number 4, because yes, we're going to count Mary Reed. Has 4 children and dies at the age of 84. Now,
Wow.
Yeah, very abrupt, I know.
Well, that's a lengthy life.
It is.
Okay.
So as far as Mary Reed goes, she died a year later in a Jamaican jail from whatever pirates die from in a Jamaican jail. It's probably scurvous and bumpy and gross and whatever other gross thing you can come up with. That was 1721. The trial that I told you about where Anne and Mary went in front of the judge, that was November 28th, 1720. So now that you have the dates in the back of your brain. There's only 2 questions here that I can answer for certain for you. I won't give you a whole list like what we did at the Pinkley Mansion site. The name of Anne Bonny's parents, that would be the father and the mistress, and the name of Calico Jack's ship. Those are the 2 things I can prove for certain. Now, I did tell you at the beginning of the tour that people have passed out on my tour in the past. This past September, I bring my tour back here. I had about 7 or 8 people. The young man next to me goes white as a ghost, pun intended, and I start to pick him up by his armpit. He about falls to the ground. I carry him over to that white wall, or that brick wall over there, sit him down, and I send his boyfriend over across the street to go get him a bottle of water. He comes back, he's feeling better. I tell the story. After I send everybody out to go have fun with their devices, they pull me aside. We need to tell you something. Well, what's up, guys? We are 2 transgender males, meaning I had 2 females dressed as males on my tour. And it made complete sense as to why one of them passed out within minutes of us entering the space. So they were perfectly fine with me telling the story because they thought it was rather cool themselves afterwards, after he was feeling better. But it was a matter of like, I can't make this stuff up. So when I give that heated warning at the beginning, it is legit. It is very legit. It's not the first time that that's happened either. It was just a very relative thing to the story itself. So here's what's going to happen. If you get any kind of readings from your EMF spikes, I want to know what they are. This is not a space like the Pinkley Mansion site where they're going to keep coming. So if you get anything, keep in mind, the closer you get to those bushes, the closer you get to parking meters and the 2 telephone poles on the edges.
How high do you want me to tell you?
Anything above 2.5. So, also in the center, you may get something based on that lamp post. Do not get excited. It's electrical wire, so don't get too stoked. As far as filming, Van, if you want to go to the front, you can. And get us a little bit of footage there. The only thing I ask is you stay out of the way of the other tours. Again, you're a casual person with a cell phone at that point. I know I'm asking Dad to be all inconspicuous, right? As far as the spirit boxes, ask whatever you want to. We will end, I know there's only 1 vehicle in here, which is weird, because I always end on that wall because there's a ledge where I can set my bag. So we're going to spend about 5 minutes here. I'll be honest, this space is, we either get a ton or it's dead as a doornail. So again, I'll know based within the first couple of minutes. I'll probably even know based on how much words we have going on with it now. Have you heard anything, or have you had it on mute?
I don't know, I've had it on. It's just radio.
Well, that's what we want.
Like static
No,
or
like
music?
music.
Even still, lyrics mean something. So let me take a look at your word list and see what we
There's
got.
a female word in there. It says female.
Well, females are cursed.
Oh.
I hate to say that as a woman.
Well, we do get a lot of pronouns in the female form here. It's she, her, you know, that kind of thing. It happens all the time here. So I'm not surprised by it. So we'll kind of see what else pops up. And I don't feel bad. That is not an easy job. So even though you've only given me 1 very strong term of warning tonight, it's perfectly fine. I'm still going to look into 20. And I'm still going to spot check it myself. So for every 5 minutes that's recorded, I listen to 1 full minute. So whenever I hear in that 1 full minute, you guys want to have a solid list on top of the notes that you guys have given me. So it's not like it's just going to help train you on how to listen to it. What I know. And that way you know what you're looking for. So it's a teaching. First time, it's not easy. It's not easy. Alright, let's walk around. Becca's already all over. Yeah, this is one of those spaces, I mean, you can ask them, and believe it or not, some people, they just keep going with that same jack shit. Wherever they live, the question. Some people just let me know, some stuff. Just everybody has their own. Yeah, that's the I guess that's
What's the name of the ship?
Abby. Tammy. Looks like a skull. See there? Two eyes.
Oh, yeah.
We got that camera likes to act up in here. Are you getting white lines?
No, I'm just looking like it looks like a skull.
You see things.
I do see it. It looks like
Is
a
it?
clown skull with a red nose. Like it. Interesting. No words?
Right here.
Nah, I don't see shit.
Right there. The skull.
I like it.
Hmm?
We don't spend a lot of time here. I know her story's long.
Yeah, there's nothing here though.
Oh my god, check this out. That's one leaf.
And where is this pulling words from?
So there's a database where there are 9,150 words in the database of this town. Okay? So it's just spitting them out random. So again, our job is to figure out the female before that's relevant to where we are, or if it's going to total female shows up here all the time. So again, it's a matter
Abby.
of right now, probably 95%.
No, come here.
And the belief is that the spirits tying the print from word though?
Yeah,
From
so
the dictionary that I have.
so this is also so that's what all of these little numbers are moving. So it's kind of
How does this look on camera? Does it show up?
Mm-hmm.
Where'd it go? Get in the shot. Oh, it's red. What if it's red because of me?
it's red because it's running on batteries and has a light.
Oh, be like that. I didn't see anything.
Nothing. Nothing.
Just sleeping today. It's late.
Nothing. Nothing.
Well, I don't see anything jumping out at me,
No.
so let's slowly move over to the wall and we'll get this party wrapped up.
Perfect.
Again, this is we'll start seeing things right away. At least the female part gives me something to go off of. A little bit.
Ooh, it's 1.6 over here, but I think just take a minute.
Alright, so the first thing I like to do is at least show you what Anne looked like. The name of her parents were William Cormack and Mary Brennan. So you guys weren't expecting another Mary. I'm going to pull this a little bit closer just in case somebody wants to go to the truck. Let's see. So this is one of the few pictures I could find of her with a shirt on. Anne used to like to bare her breast to show the men she killed that they were just killed by a woman. Like she was that hardcore. And again, I know it's another painting, but it is probably one of the more accurate depictions I can see based on the revolver that she's using. So again, we're talking, 1710s. That's basically the time frame. Calico Jack. I have the only picture of Calico Jack. And I like to show that off too because Calico Jack was named that because of the jackets that he wore. They were from the men that he killed. So that's why he was called Calico Jack. He was a very dapper, young, filthy pirate. But again, this was the bow. Now Jack, you have to remember, never married Anne. She was still married to James Bonny. He tried to buy the dowry from James Bonny, and Bonny refused. So he was just the boyfriend at this point. So his ship was named the Kingston. Now, do I expect Kingston to come through on a radio station? No. If you hear or see the word king, that's usually enough for me. So, again, we're pretty close to Queen Street, too. So it's a matter of some people have heard the term queen here in the past. So that's, you know, things can be a little surprising. So here's what's going to happen from here. I'm going to take your word list last. You're struggling to actually get through all of this, so I'll probably take yours first. Now, I'm usually done with all of your data by noon, so I took plenty of notes. Obviously, you're going to have plenty of links to go through, so I'm going to go through it for probably 2 hours, see what I see, let you guys kind of handle it from there. So if you guys find more, I'll give you guys my card. This way you guys can get in touch with me and kind of check things out for yourself. Now, if you're interested in the other paranormal places that I've been to, again, you've probably noticed from the tour that I don't always go to places that are deemed haunted. So I've been to like the Flight 93 Memorial in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, where 9/11 planes crashed. You know, I like to go to the places that other people don't deem haunted, kind of like the Pinckney Mansion site. Nobody's ever been there to actually say that it's been haunted before, which is one of the reasons